Hi there, Dave with Crandall Office, and today we're going to be covering how to assemble your Hayworth Zody chair purchased from Crandall Office Furniture through the Hayworth Open Box Returns program. I do want to quickly mention that this process is going to be a little bit different than if you purchased a brand new chair from Hayworth. This is only going to be applicable if you purchased a Zody chair through the Hayworth Open Box Returns program at crandalloffice.com. So without further ado, let's get started. 1, 2, 3. All right, so the first thing we got to do is open the box and get everything out. We're going to put it out on the table here for you, and then we're going to get started assembling. All right, so we're going to start with the upholstered version of the Zody chair. It's a little bit of a simpler install. If you do have the meshback version, you can skip this part and skip right ahead to the meshback install. We'll have a timestamp and a link in the description below for that. But let's go ahead and get started with the upholstered install. First thing we're going to go over is what you should receive in the box. It's going to be real simple. It's the chair core. You're going to have the chair back. You're going to have a provided T30 Torx bit along with the screw to mount the back into the frame. So that's going to be it. Okay, so with the upholstered version of the Zody chair, all we really need to do is install the back onto the chair core here. We've got our provided T30 Torx bit. I'm going to be using an impact driver to do the install, so I'm going to pop that into here. Next, we're going to take the chair core and we're going to, you're going to see you got the bracket here, and it's in two pieces, and so it kind of wobbles around on you. There is a locating pin here, so you're going to want to kind of locate that locator pin. It does kind of want to fall out sometimes, so it's a little bit easier to do once we have the back in place. So what I'm going to do is just grab this back. I'm going to kind of put it into place here. So make sure we get our bolt here, and then we are going to line that up and go ahead and tighten it up. Don't want to over tighten it. We are going into a metal insert on this, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem, but we want to make sure we don't over tighten here. So as you can see, that was a very quick and easy assembly of the upholstered version of the Zody. Let's move on to the meshback version next. All right, so now let's get started with assembling the Zody with the meshback and the lumbar spec. Again, if your chair has the meshback but does not have the lumbar spec, please go ahead and skip ahead to the next section where we're going to be going over that install. But now let's get started with the assembly for the Zody with a lumbar. So again, it's going to be real simple. What you should have in the box is going to be the chair core here. We're going to have the back component with the mesh. We're also going to have the lumbar component, and you're going to have the longer installation screw, your T30 Torx bit, as well as a metal plate, receiving plate, and we're going to show you how to install that in just a second. So now that we've got everything going, let's go ahead and get started with the install. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is going to be to grab the lumbar component and the small metal plate that you should have received with your chair. The plate is small, kind of has a T-shaped top to it, and so this is going to slide in. It can really only go in one way. It is going to be a free floating thing here, but I'm going to show you here how this goes in and slides into place. Again, you can easily remove it, so make sure it doesn't fall out when we move on to the next step. And so now that that's in place, we're going to go ahead and install this into the back. So we're going to slide it underneath that frame there, and this is going to just kind of pop into place there. And then we're going to put it upright, and with that upright, the weight of the lumbar should hold it into place for the next step. So we're going to set aside the back frame for just a second. And again, just like the upholstered version, we have a T30 Torx bit. I'm going to be using an impact driver to install this. And so go ahead and put that T30 provided Torx bit into your impact driver or whatever you're going to be using to install, and grab your screw. And then we're going to take the core of the chair. I'm going to turn this over here so that you've got a good view of it. Again, this is the same design as the upholstered version. So these are two kind of free floating different components here that are going to kind of click together. Again, there's a locating pin right here, so you can get that locating pin into place, and it's going to only go in that way. So once that's in place, again, this can come apart because it is two separate pieces, so you may need to provide some side-to-side pressure while we're doing this back install. So we're going to take the back, providing that side-to-side pressure, go ahead and just slide that back right into place. Okay, so with the back installed into the frame here, again, that's just slid into place for right now. You're gonna go ahead and grab your long screw here, and this is actually gonna be threading into that metal piece that we placed into the lumbar. And so I find it easier if we go ahead and do this by hand to get it started, as you might need to move this lumbar around a little bit to make sure that it gets started threading. So you can see I'm gonna have to just kind of play with that until it starts threading. All right, and there it goes. We can get started threading. If while you're putting the screw in, you find that it's not threading or this pops out of place, you can kind of just kick the lumbar out to the side here, and we're gonna reinstall that metal piece right here. And then you're going to just kind of line this up. Again, this kind of goes into a channel. You'll feel it kind of pop into place there. And then you go ahead and start threading that screw again. And then we're gonna take our impact driver. We're gonna go ahead and tighten it up. And again, just like the other one, we want to make sure we do not over tighten this, but make sure that it's good and snug to make sure that the back is in place. Give it a good wiggle, make sure that it's good and tight. If it is, we're all set, and this is back installed and ready for sitting. All right, so finally, let's go over how to install the Zody with a mesh back without the lumbar. It's gonna be very similar to the installation with a lumbar. We're just gonna be missing that lumbar piece, and so that metal component goes in a little bit differently. Again, if you received your chair, you should have received the chair core, the mesh back without a lumbar, and the same three pieces that you had with the other one, which is gonna be the long installation screw, a T30 Torx bit, as well as the metal plate. So let's go ahead and get started installing the back on this version. Okay, so to get this installed, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take our chair core, and unlike the version with the lumbar, we're not gonna put the metal piece in beforehand. We're just gonna go ahead and get this back in place first. So I'm gonna set this right here. Again, this is a two-part yoke design. You're gonna need to line up that locating pin and kind of squeeze that together. You might need to provide some clamping pressure here with your hands while you install the back here. And let's go ahead and get that back installed and in place. And it should hold into place now. Next thing we're gonna be doing is gonna be taking this metal bracket piece, and we're gonna be putting this and sliding this into underneath where the lumbar would normally be installed. And so what we're gonna need to do is just kind of hold that in place and then grab our installation screw. And we're gonna just hand thread this, and you can kind of use your other hand to hold that metal piece into place to make sure that that gets aligned. And I can feel that we have started threading that up, and that is begun threading, so we're good to go to grab our T30 Torx bit and go ahead and finish the tightening of this process. So again, I'm using an impact driver. You can do this by hand. If you are using an impact driver, make sure not to over tighten this. You can see that's tightened up, and we are now fully assembled and ready to use. Okay, so now that your chair is fully assembled, let's go ahead and make sure that everything is working properly by giving the chair a full function check. We're gonna start here with just making sure that the gas cylinder is working properly. That's gonna be located on this lever here on the right-hand side of the chair if you're sitting in the chair. Go ahead and pull up on that lever, and you're gonna see the gas cylinder should rise up. Put some weight into the chair and pull the lever again. Gas cylinder should go down, the chair should lower. It should not be coming up on its own or lowering when you put weight in the chair without pulling the lever. Next, we're gonna take a look at the seat slider, which is gonna be on the left-hand side of the chair. The same looking lever as what was on the right-hand side. You're just gonna pull that lever, and then this seat will slide forward and backwards. Make sure that that's sliding properly. Next, let's take a look at the tilt functions of the chair. These are optional components on the Zody, so your chair may or may not have these components. If it does, the first one we're gonna look at is gonna be the back lock, which is gonna be this rearmost paddle on the right-hand side of the chair on the crank handle. And to activate that, you'll see right now it's in the up position, and I can lean all the way back in my chair. If I want to activate that, I'm gonna push this down with the chair in an upright position. As you can see, when I lean back, it's going to stop me from leaning back. There is a little bit of give, just like most chairs, so it's not gonna be a firm, upright back lock. You can see there's a little bit of give, but it's gonna stop you from leaning back in the chair. I'm gonna disengage that to activate the forward tilt, which again is an optional component. And so when we're leaning back in the chair, so to activate the forward tilt, you're gonna wanna lean back in the chair. You're gonna push down on that lever, and as you can see, as I come back up into the forward position, it's gonna be in a much more perched forward position, forward leaning position. To deactivate, what you wanna do is lean back in the chair, pull up on the lever. And as you can see, when I come back into an upright position, I'm gonna be at a much more level position. Next, let's take a look at the arms, make sure that these are being adjusted properly. You can see we've got full adjustment, forward, back, side to side, and up and down. And so you can see we've got a lot of adjustment in the arms. Make sure those are all working properly. Lastly, let's take a look at the lumbar. So the lumbar on the Zody does adjust up and down. So you're gonna see that this is gonna go up and down as you push on it. And you also have these spin levers here that are going to adjust how much pressure is pushing into your lower back with this lumbar system. Make sure all that is working properly. If everything is, you're good to go. So I wanted to make a quick note that the adjustment on the lumbar for the upholstered version is slightly different than the meshback version. It's only gonna have a height adjustment. Just make sure that these levers are sliding up and down to adjust that lumbar for you if you're spec'd with the lumbar. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video on how to assemble your Hayworth Zody chair purchased from Crandall Office Furniture through the Hayworth Open Box Returns program. If you've got any questions at all about this program or anything else over at Crandall Office Furniture, don't hesitate to reach out to us at our website, crandalloffice.com, our Facebook page, or anywhere else you can reach us. We're always here to help. If you found this video helpful, please click the like and subscribe buttons below. Helps us out a lot. And again, we've got all of these chairs available for purchase at crandalloffice.com. It's an ever-rotating stock that's going to be getting replenished on a frequent basis. So make sure to head over there if you're shopping for a Hayworth chair and want to see what we have available. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. And then we can put this back in. So if this happens to come out while you're doing the install or just kind of